And we are recording. Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Abraham L. Jaguar. First of all, this channel is proudly partnered with the What the Funk shop. Please check out their store for all sorts of products. They have dice, miniatures, Game Master screens, home decorations, and many other things. You will find the link to their store in the description and in the pinned comment, and make sure that you use my code for a special discount. Today, we are playing the Asteria campaign using the Quick and Classic fantasy role-playing game system. We actually have the designer, David, and I will get to David in a few moments. Just to give everyone like a brief summary of the situation. These five adventurers, they are orphans. They do not know about their parents, their family history. They were given to a couple of older adventurers by the names of William and Jane. They were delivered to them by a man named Palamon, but there is so much secrecy when it comes to their background. They know pretty much nothing. They have been taught in the ways of fighting, survival, magic by William and Jane. They are in the secluded island of Halmar, just a bit northwest of the continent of Asteria, the realm of Asteria. And there is so much mystery surrounding them. They are almost clueless as to what may happen. But this is about to change pretty soon. And now, Derek, playing the character of Raisha, tell us about your character, please.
Sure. Raisha is a young human female. She's 18, 5'5", 130 pounds, turquoise eyes and black hair, and she kind of defines herself by being kind of an advocate of a strange philosophy that sort of worships ideals of like hope and love that she found from a traveler from the mysterious East, and she also practices kind of a unconventional style of swordsmanship that is probably a little, prettier and more elegant than kind of the more practical, brutal style they likely is in vogue back, to the south in Asteria. And she's generally, interested in learning more about people, the outside world, but still kind of deeply respects her adoptive parents and the values they've imparted. So that's her.
Excellent. And for those that do not know, Derek is actually the author, the designer of Forgotten Fate. If you want to play a JRPG version of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, definitely check it out. And we also have Josh. You have seen him before in the Iraq Kaiju campaign. Josh, please tell us about your elf.
Bervin Rendir is an elven man. He carries with him a bastard sword as long as he is. His elven style of fighting is rather peculiar, as he tends to use his elven strength in order to do combat with. His elven magic is tied to his weaponry, and maybe even his dreams.
That's a really cool feature about Baron's background. He has these weird visions, but very weird, strange dreams. So maybe that will play out in the campaign. Who knows? Mm-hmm. And then we have Sam. Now, Josh and I have already played with Sam in a Twilight game. Josh and Sam survived a very grueling wartime adventure. So, Sam, please tell us about your character.
Yes, so this is Sam. I'm Peter Dariusz. I'm a human thief. I come from a high society family. I was working in a library for a couple of years. I loved reading books, histories, literature books, whatever had letters inside. But at some point in time, I decided to become a rogue. I changed my life. I became one with darkness, walking the shadows. And now I love gold and picking locks and picking golden things.
Now, Sam refers to a small library in the island of Halmar because it is very separated from Asteria. That's where they obtain most of their knowledge, although it is not as extensive, of course, as the great libraries of Asteria because they have spent all of their lives there. Excellent concept, Sam. Now, we are moving to Giovanni. Giovanni, at the moment, he's having some camera issues, but he's still here. And Giovanni is actually a
Yep.
game master. He's running an advanced Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Please, Giovanni, tell us about your character, Munin.
Yes. So Munin is a crusader, but with sort of a shaman flavoring. As all of the orphans, he was in the small island by William and Jane, has really um, leaned into his adopted family. He thinks of them as his family more than anything else. And he's always been curious from a very young age about everything and anything. So has started learning about nature, the ways of nature and animals, and sort of leaned into that and discovered magic through that. He identifies the raven as his sort of totemic animal, and has even made a cape of raven feathers to wear around, even though it might make him look a little silly. He fashioned his club as having the shape of a raven claw holding a rock and fights with that. He has sworn off using swords in combat because during a training, he actually hurt his brother Odo, which we will hear from very soon. So he will never, ever, ever use a sword again in combat. And that's why he uses the club. He is very, very violent in battle. This is sort of a dichotomy. While he is very into sort of knowledge and enigmas and thinking about things and acquiring knowledge and understanding, when in battle, he gets sort of overthrown by a primordial fury. And so that is part of why during that training, he ended up hurting his brother. He feels terrible about it, and is forever trying to make it up to Odo.
Excellent. Can you raise your volume just a bit, Giovanni, just a little bit? And
Yep.
now we are moving to pretty much the person responsible for us being here. He's David Chelazzi, the designer of the Quick and Classic tabletop RPG. David, please tell us about your character, Odo.
With great joy, and it's a real pleasure to be with you guys. And Odo, Odo is a uh, Anglo-Saxon, dark, early Middle Ages type of fighter. He's clad in chainmail, has a Saxon type of helm with an iron mask, and he tends not to remove it because he was already ugly, but then he got this horrible scar on his face from training with Munin, and so he really tends not to remove his helm. Um, Odo is very silent, sturdy guy, thinks slowly, but fights uh, pretty fiercely, but has a very practical, linear way of fighting. No fancy moves, just get the result done. And he doesn't know or have any clue of what his mission in this world might be. He's going to find out if he survives, of course. And only thing, he doesn't like much the actual tyrant. Um, he finds much more inspiring the old king he heard about in the tales. So he's looking forward to know more about the myth, traveling with his companions.
Excellent. And so it begins. You are all finishing breakfast using the same wooden table you have used all of your life here in Halmar. It was a delicious breakfast. You are just outside of your two-story cottage that you call home, and you are approached by your foster mother, Jane, a woman in her 60s. Her light brown hair, almost completely covered with the white of old age. Her blue eyes sparkle. She smiles and approaches you as you are sitting down and speaks. Children, just look at you. You have grown up to be such fine individuals. Did you enjoy your breakfast?
Oh, it was very good, Mother. Very good indeed. Indeed. Very happy I am.
I give her a cheerful wave and I approach her and I hug her and I say, "Yes, excellent as always. And how are you and how is William? How's father?"
It's a good thing that you mentioned that. Today is a very special day. Come, everyone, follow me. Come to the apple tree. Your father and I have something very important to share with you. And almost without waiting for you, she hurries up towards the apple tree.
I raise an eyebrow and look to my siblings and say, "What do you suppose this is, brothers? Unusual to have an impromptu meeting like this. Suppose we'll find out when we find out, but I'm intrigued."
I look to my siblings. I shrug and I say, "Well, I don't know, but I'm going to go over there."
I'm already halfway out the door. I just follow Mother.
Only way
Peter
to
is
find
also
out.
following Mother.
I take my sword with me out of habit, feeling a bit naked going anywhere without it, but otherwise just pause briefly to say goodbye to my mule and say, "Cuthbert, be a good boy until we return." And I will head off to the apple tree with my siblings.
As we go along, I pat Cuthbert on the head and keep walking along with my brothers.
As you
He
proceed,
is part of the family.
Raisha pauses for a moment, thinking in the future of what she will be doing, but quickly joins the others. Now, as you stand near the apple tree, you once again see William, a sturdy man, also in his 60s. His hair is peppered with white and black. His short beard well kept. He looks at all of you with stern eyes and speaks. "I was actually fearing for this day to come. Your mother and I have trained you to the best of our abilities, but today you must put them to the test. Are you all ready?"
I shake my head vigorously and I say, of course, Father, of course."
Well, Baron is excited, but I'd like to know a bit more about what this is all about, Father. What you've always taken care of us and ensured that we're properly trained, but I never imagined it was for some specific purpose beyond preparing us for adulthood and survival.
As you may have noticed throughout the years, we have shared very little of our past, but we plan to disclose everything as soon as possible. But first, in order for you to pass this test, you must complete something that Jane and I. He looks at her. She looks back. Their eyes almost tearing up. They recover, they recompose themselves. William continues. "This island is known in Asteria as a cursed island. It holds many secrets. And when we were younger, we were attempting to recover a bronze bell of great importance. We hope that with our training, you are able to accomplish what we could not. Here," he approaches Raisha and gives her an old piece of parchment. "You can see this cliffside with a cavern next to a lake. This was drawn by a dying seer, a wise man that had visions. He had guided us before dying to this island in order to find a bronze bell with the head of a demonic goat. But we have no idea where this cavern next to a lake is located. We went deep into the southwest and we almost died. 3 others died. We survived. And then we returned to this safe haven, this cottage, and were contacted by Palemon. And so he entrusted us with your care. We raised you as best as we could. So we hope that you are able to accomplish what we could not. Go into the southwest and find this bell. It is of extreme importance.
Father, what almost killed you?
Yes.
I
Moonin
do
has
not know
a
if
valid question.
I do not know if it is still around, but Jane interrupts him. Let me continue. Let me finish that for you. That beast, it actually killed our three friends. It is a monstrous deer. It is unlike any other deer that you have seen. It is an aberration. It has black antlers, and they shoot out as if they were crossbow bolts. One wound, one small wound from those, and you will surely die. Children, I do not wish to send you in that quest, but this could be of great importance for Asteria.
This is obviously deeply emotional to the both of you, I can tell, and you've taken grave care to protect us and, in fact, limit us from exploring the more dangerous parts of the island, so I can assume this is not an easy decision. But what is the significance of this bronze bell with this hideous visage on it? What makes it, well, what made it worth you and your comrades risking their lives all those years ago, and why now would you ask us to do the same? Surely it must be truly important, yes?
William and Jane look at each other. They shake for a moment, trembling. And William speaks. Sometimes the mind is a prison. Please understand, we must recover the bell before we share more details. And we even fear that perhaps because of our connection to this bell, it is that Baron has been having such strange nightmares. I am sorry, Baron.
I have only one
It's
question.
okay.
Can it be hurt by iron, that monster?
We had no chance, William continues. We have no idea if it was hurt. It kept shooting this barrage of antlers that regenerated as if from out of a dream or a nightmare. We couldn't even strike a single blow.
I kiss their hands and say, "It will be done." Then I turn to them and say, "Would you happen to have a shield or two that we could carry with us to protect us from those antlers?"
William and Jane hesitate, and William speaks. There is my old shield, but it will be pointless to use it. Those antlers, they penetrated full plate.
I'm curious, why now? Is it simply that you think we've mastered the skill sets necessary to accomplish this task, or has something changed to bring renewed urgency to the recovery of this bell? Obviously, I don't want to pry beyond what is necessary, but we are to put our lives at risk, father and mother, so I think candor would be appreciated.
Jane speaks. It is partly due to your training being complete, but the visions that Baron has received have intensified his dreams, his nightmares. It is now. It is the time. Again, we will give more details after you recover the bell, but let's just say that sometimes we are being watched.
Your comrades who passed, are they buried here on Halmar? Or were they cast to the seas, perhaps, after their passing?
Good question.
We couldn't even recover their bodies. They putrefied after getting wounded by those antlers.
How horrifying. Well, I was going to say my respects to them, but perhaps we'll simply honor them in whatever way we can.
Resha, we need to go.
Let us
Um,
go. Odo is
uh,
right.
Dear parents, how about this island Asteria that you mentioned, this cursed island? You have some kind of map that could help us move there? Maybe some secret ways, secret corridors, secret places that we could use to find this.
I will
William.
show Sam the map that William gave me of Halmar and say, well, we have this. It's part of our very own island. We've been growing up on the cursed island without even realizing it.
After
Correct, Father?
hesitating for a few seconds, Reisha shows him the map.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Of course. Study it at your leisure. I hand it to Sam.
Thank you.
William speaks. Go forth. I am sure our training will assist you. We failed, but you will not. You have been instructed in the best of the ways of combat and magic as we understand them. You are younger, stronger. You will be successful.
Can we take the shield just in case something else happens? Not just a deer, but maybe something else.
Jane, please, fetch the shield. Jane goes into the cottage. The shield is practically useless, but it will grant you protection. One wound of resistance. When it is needed, Jane returns and hands the shield to Baron.
My siblings, does anybody want the shield? As I hold it up a little bit.
It looks good on you, Baron.
Let
Yeah.
us go. Let us
Okay.
move.
I take
Lower
my
Odo is a
bastard sword
sword.
and put it in my hand and I'll draw it and carry my shield with me.
Odo is ever.
I patch his posture more like this and this.
Odo
There
is
you
ever a
go.
man of action. I think he would like us to be underway. I do not wish to dig up old wounds for our parents, so perhaps we should be. Yes,
Let us
let's set
move.
off.
Let us move. How long to the southwestern part of the isle?
Jane can overhear you as William makes his way into the cottage. This island, by a rough estimate, should be about 5 miles in total dimensions. But we have no idea how large it is, actually. Just keep on going. We have no better guidelines for you. This ambiguous map is the only thing we could fathom from our adventures.
All right, let's get going.
Yeah.
I go and fetch my mule and load it with any adventuring gear I have for the road and set off with the others.
Some portions of food and some water, I think, will be good enough.
Everyone is able to pack at least one ration. And now you stand outside of the cottage, ready to venture on.
Who would like to act as our navigator? Moonin, you've always shown a great affinity for the natural world.
I am happy
Unless
to
someone else
guide.
would care.
And may the crows bring us a straight path into victory. We start moving in the direction that our parents indicated, checking along the way as soon as we leave our familiar territory for any tracks, anything that might either arouse suspicion or worry or give us indication of where we might be headed. Water in terms of finding a lake. So if there's any rivulet of water, we might want to follow that to see if we can find a lake and then find the cavern thereof, and tracks, especially similar to deer, but possibly bigger.
Someone with better eyes than me We'd better keep a look to the sky. Father said we're being watched.
I'll confess I'm excited to explore more of the island. Our world has been so very small for all these years, even if the circumstances are a bit dire.
Yes, my siblings. It's great to explore, don't you all think?
Well, as long as we don't end up the way Will and Jane's old companions did. Yes. So let's be prudent.
True. Yes.
As you continue your path, the landscape is unremarkable except from a few trees. The grass is even until Munin spots some patches of grass that seem to have been ripped from out of the ground. And close to it, in a heap of soil and grass, lies the corpse of a man.
Carefully, I approach.
I'll be at your side.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Munin realizes that the corpse has been eaten in a most bizarre way, as chunks of muscle and even bone are completely missing, as if attacked by multiple bites. There are 12 florins next to the corpse, and pieces of paper of what appears to be the remains of a journal.
I reach to examine the document. No.
I examine the bites. Do they look like they have been taken by a pack of animal or a single animal? You say pieces of bone are missing, like a
Munin
big
starts
bite.
to speak to someone that is not there. Out loud.
I noticed that pieces of bone are missing. Does it look like it has been taken out with a bite with something with an incredibly powerful jaw? Or does it look like it has been eaten over time?
Munin
I'm
keeps
not too
asking
sure.
questions and realizes that he is looking for marks about the true nature of these bites. The bites appear to be made by human teeth.
Human?
Darius
Oh,
is
that's
keeping an eye around in case we're being followed or in case we are being stared by something. So I'm using my ears and my eyesight to make sure we're not being watched.
I read the journal in the meantime, taking it up
I'm-
and trying to find legible passages, reading them aloud to my siblings.
I'm keeping as close as I can to that mule, making sure I guard it with my life and my siblings.
Nothing else is noticed of importance, but as Beren and Risha examine the remains of the journal, many of the entries are unimportant, detailing things of what this man ate, but it is incomplete. The journal also is torn, pieces completely missing. But there is a noteworthy note saying, "The fool, he wanted to rub our bodies with those stinky plants."
After reading the note aloud, I say, "What do you make of this?" Perhaps they intended to use some plant as a natural defense against a predator.
I try to recall if in my learnings from William and Jane, I have ever studied a plant that might make a man go feral.
Munin is absolutely certain that so far, from the plants that he has seen in this island, there is no such plant. But many plants have been used to disguise the scent of a human from wild predators.
I try to understand how recent the death of the man is. And if I can, if the bite marks precede or not the death.
For Munin's expertise, it is clear that this happened at least 2 days ago. But the other members of the group do not know because Munin has not told them yet.
I tell everybody, people, I think this corpse has been here for at least 2 days.
Interesting. There could be a vessel they arrived on from. Halmar is an island.
Do you think it was one single cannibal that killed him, or more?
That I am not sure of.
I mean, why would a human do this to another human, if not to eat it? But it doesn't seem that this poor guy was eaten, or I don't know. I mean,
I try to understand if the bites are what caused the death or if the man was dead and then was eaten.
It is uncertain for Munin.
I cannot tell if the bites are what killed this man or if he was killed first and then devoured.
Well, brothers, there are some things we do know with certainty, at least based on the journals. This man was literate. He did not come here alone. He had comrades he refers to. So we should be on the lookout for either other victims or other survivors, yes?
Or both?
I checked
Or
the
both.
diary to see what the last date of the entry is.
The last date of the entry is the 30th day of the first month. Just 1 day ago. Which is a complete contradiction to the time of death.
Something
Is
seems
there-
to be troubling you, brother. Share your thoughts.
is there anything like a werewolf fear around? Maybe there was a fight or something, and it was not just a regular human, or it could be a werewolf or something else. I mean, or it,
I don't know,
Bite marks
Peter.
are human teeth. And I am certain that this body has been here for at least 2 days, but that last entry, that's from yesterday.
Interesting. And a bit perplexing. It's possible the deceased was not the one who wrote the journal, but how it would come into his possession post-mortem does raise questions. I'm not certain there's anything more we can learn from him. I will take his florin, since they're of no use to him.
Do you think who wrote in this maybe forged a document or whatnot in the book to throw us off? Maybe their tracks or something? I don't know.
Well, it's
Could be a murder.
possible, Baron. That seems like a bafflingly odd tactic. Hoping someone would come along and then become perplexed by misleading journal entries. Anything is possible. We've had very little contact outside our family unit, but I can't presume to
I
know
look for
why. I think we should press
tracks
on.
around the body. Whatever ate it must have left. I see if I can find tracks leading away from the body.
No tracks can be seen by Munin. However, he notices that something very heavy was dragged along the grass deeper towards the southwest.
Brothers,
Did you see something?
sister, shall we follow that?
We'll follow.
Yep.
I checked. I'd like to first check the map to see if that is roughly in the same direction as the destination our parents prescribed for us, or if that's deviating from it.
As Risha takes a look at the map is no help beyond the image of the cliffside, the cavern on the cliffside, and the lake.
But southwest
Brothers,
is where we were supposed to be going anyway, sister.
We're looking for danger, and this looks dangerous. I say go.
Let's follow it.
it would seem that the decision's been reached. Let's be off.
To the southwest.
How many hours till midnight, let's say, till it gets dark? Because I have a bad feeling about these creatures lurking around here.
As Peter asks aloud to his companions, you notice that it is still 10 hours before it gets dark.
Peter,
Plenty of
your
time.
concerns are valid, but yes, I would certainly not
hustle.
like to meet any beasts under cover of night. We should be, yes, let's move.
Let's hustle, brothers, sister.
Bodhi?
As you continue your path, you hear wild stomping coming from just behind some trees in the southwest, and charging out of nowhere, a lizard-like beast, larger than a horse, with 5 human heads sprouting from its neck, all of flesh color, human teeth, green body, charges at all of you at maddening speed.
I quickly dodge out of the way and sideswipe it with my sword.
Everybody else can take action.
I meet his charge. I charge back at it. Aim for the heads.
As I see Munin starts to run, I grunt inside my helm, inside the face, behind the face mask, and I charge with him.
I draw and level my sword, watching for a moment to coordinate with my brother's tactics, waiting for a moment where it seems distracted by the assault from one angle and another by Baron and Munin and Odo, finding a good moment to slip in and try to drive my blade beneath its arm, through its side.
As I step to sideswipe it, I'll try to attack its legs with my sword.
Baron hesitated for a moment, thinking about the future, and Peter can still act as well. Peter can act.
Peter will also try to get out of the way.
Peter and Baron both hesitate, thinking about the future, about what they will do instead of acting in the present. Thanks to the quick actions of Reisha, Munin, and Odo, the beast recoils back, suffering superficial cuts, but each one of the heads manages to bite Baron and Sam, both on Peter. Both Baron and Peter suffer one wound. The heads hiss and yell in unearthly sounds, and each head shoots in erratic directions towards all of you. You can all take action.
Again, in the heat of battle, I swipe down with all my might with my club, trying to crush the head that is closer to me.
This time, Peter will use his dagger.
Peter
his large
hesitates
dagger.
and loses that chance to act, thinking in the will in the future. The rest can act as well.
I leap into the air and swipe with my sword into its head.
I again wait for a moment where my brothers are not in the way, reach down for a clump of dirt and throw it in as many of its sets of eyes as possible, and then take advantage of that distraction to try to plunge my blade into its belly and upwards, aiming for the heart.
And I will slash at the head that it's As
Although
much-
hesitates, thinking in the future. Thanks to the other's quick action, the beast was severely injured, but it is still standing, but did not manage to find an opening to strike back. And now, the adventurers can act once more.
I will try and finish it.
Although hesitates once more, the rest can act in the present, in the now.
Peter is using his large dagger, targeting for the head.
I swing around, following the motion of my last strike, and again aim for the closest head, trying to bash in all those teeth with my mace.
I stab at one of the heads with my bastard sword right in the eye.
I snap off a quick kick to one of its knees, trying to get its stance lowered and broken. Spin with my elbow, striking it in its midsection, all to try to open up an opening to plunge my blade again towards one of its heads.
The beast, with 5 terrible roars, falls down in a bloody heap, defeated.
What in the hells was that?
By all the gods of all the things that are right, this is not.
I
think
don't
we
know
can
what. Go ahead, my brother.
I was simply going to say, I think we may know what killed our victim back there, obviously. Go
on. Mind if I take a slice out of this? I'm kind of hungry.
I would not eat it, Baron, if I were you.
Oh, well, okay. But if y'all want a slice, I can
Yes.
grab you a slice. I don't mind.
I
I
Try to
would strongly
understand-
recommend against that.
Okay, whatever.
I take a look at the wounds on Baron and Sam and try to understand if it is possible that the bite carries either venom or disease that might have made the corpse look older than it was. And if my brothers are in danger.
Thank you, Munin.
Munin realizes that there is a deep necrosis, a quick necrosis occurring in the wounds. But Munin is knowledgeable that if fire is applied, he may stop the effect.
I immediately
Please do
take
that.
out. I immediately take out my tinder and strike it and light a fire. Heat up a blade and push it against the wounds to cauterize it, stop the necrosis.
I'll handle the handle of my sword. Bite this.
Oh,
Thank
boy.
you, Odo. Thank you, Odo. I need that. It's burning like hell.
Both Peter and Baron suffer an additional wound, but the necrosis stops.
Okay. I was lucky this time. We were lucky this time.
I avert
Yeah.
my eyes, unwilling to watch my brothers in such pain. And then turn and
Siblings.
say,
What?
is it over?
Siblings, not feeling too good. I kind of kneel down, just in incredible pain. I am not feeling good at all. It
I
feels
would
like
say
I'm on
that's
death's door.
I would say that's an understatement, brother. Yes, you've suffered grievous wounds, and the treatment was likely intensely painful. You don't need to. We are your family. You don't need to minimize your pain. We understand.
Brother, use your magic to heal yourself.
Yes.
But the thing is I can't heal with myself with that magic. Yeah.
Baron remembers that he is able to heal himself, but remembers that he only has one cast of the spell for the day.
Oh, well, I guess I could. I can try something different, I suppose. I place my blade on my on the flat end with my on the wound, and electrical pulses radiate from it that appear as if eyes upon the limbs of trees.
One wound
Baron
is
does-
healed for Baron.
Under normal circumstances, I would need to take a rest, but I don't think we have this luxury this time. I will try to continue with these 2 wounds, and maybe tomorrow, Baron, you can also help me with my wound as well.
Yeah, I can do that for you, my friend, my sibling.
So can I,
Yes, my
Peter.
friend, yeah.
Come nightfall, I will be able to heal you.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
examined the
Thanks.
corpse of the creature in the meantime, curious whether or not the heads appear to have naturally grown from its body or been attached through some sort of alchemical or magical experimentation.
It looks as if the creature was always like that for Baron's understanding, to Baron's understanding.
As hideous as it is, brothers, this seems to be the creature's natural state. I wouldn't have thought that such a thing could be birthed in our lands, but
I
there's
don't
the
think it
evidence
was
before
birthed.
us.
I look at the creature as well and try to understand its nature or lack thereof, whether it was evoked or created.
Despite his great knowledge in matters, in enigmatic matters, Munin has no idea where the creature came from.
How about if the creature was carrying any kind of gold coins or any kind of notes, anything that could be useful, let's say, to loot?
We
It
could
is
I
search it,
examine
Peter.
it for Peter.
It is quite evident that the creature had nothing on it.
I don't see anything, Peter, but maybe next time, my sibling.
Brothers, sister, given that fire has helped your wounds, and given that we know nothing of this beast, I propose we burn it before we abandon it.
Yes.
I think that's a prudent measure. I'd like to do a quick charcoal sketch, perhaps, just to commemorate it in order to describe it to others. Perhaps a sage at a later time can give us more information about the hellish things that roam our island, but as soon as I've done so, yes, please destroy the abomination.
I will cut it down to pieces. You will burn it more easily, and it makes me furious. I don't know what was in the creature made me hesitate. I will cut it to pieces. I start cutting slices and chunks.
You have nothing to fear or to be ashamed of, Odo. I can't speak for all of us, but my swordplay has always been training, exercise. I've never faced a true battle where death was at stake until today. My heart is racing, and it is truly terrifying. You all handled it much better than I, to be honest. My hands are shaking.
You are right, sister. You will learn.
I give a pat on the back, Aracia. You did well, sister. You did well.
Thank you. You all did. You as well, Odo.
Let's
None of you should
cut
be
the
ashamed
beast.
of the way you comported yourselves.
Let's cut the beast and burn it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I give Raisha like the elven salute, and then continue to cut with you all.
And so the beast was cut into pieces and easily burned.
After the deed is done, we continue southwest.
Agreed. Let's do so. But if things become too dire, we can turn back or even set up camp in a fortified location. We still have sunlight, however. I recommend we move.
As you continue for another mile, you spot a single tombstone in the middle of the landscape.
A
Tombstone.
tombstone in the middle of the
Approach it.
land.
From a
I approach
distance,
it looking for any writing on it.
Why not in the graveyard?
The
This is
writing
strange.
on the stone has been weathered, damaged, but one thing can be read. It reads, experimented with demons.
I say the phrase aloud to my brothers. Experimented with demons. It's the only thing I can clearly make out from this grave marker. That at least tells us a bit about the actions of the one buried here, yes?
it is clear to me that the thing we just fought could be an experiment with a demon.
Certainly could be. There
I
are still
try to
questions
understand.
raised.
I try to summarize how old this grave marker could be.
At the very least, several decades.
And I look around to see if there's anything else that could have been an abode, a place of residence, or of cult.
Munin notices that there is nothing apart from the tombstone, but he can clearly see in the distance that further southwest, there is most likely a beach area, the other side of the island of Halmar.
Consider what the presence of this grave alone tells us, brothers. Not just that this was a man or woman who experimented with demons, who has passed away, but that someone survived them, knew of their activities, buried them, and marked their grave as such. The number of people who do or have occupied our little island, either now or in the past, is bigger than we may have considered. Be on the ready for anything.
Could be more monsters around that say, let's head for the beach.
Let's head for the beach.
Does anyone think there is any value in exhuming the body from this gravesite?
Let the dead rest.
Yeah,
So be it.
I'd rather not deprecate the dead. That's just wrong.
It's a dead demonologist based on the grave marker, so I'm really less than concerned about their dignity.
Right.
But if you see no value in it, I see no need.
Let which lies stay lying.
Next to the tombstone, do we see any signs that something may have gone inside or gotten outside of that tomb?
Peter asks to the others.
I will look.
No sign or mark whatsoever.
It simply is
I
a
start
grave.
walking in the direction of the beach,
Yes.
and I talk to my siblings about the things that we have found. I am concerned. I have never seen our parents as worried as they were this morning. And for the first time, we find signs of things abominable. Grave markers that have been here for decades. Longer, probably, than all of us have been alive. Monsters of unspeakable nature.
Agreed.
I am concerned.
Our parents always
Okay.
wanted to keep us to the safer parts of Halmar, and now they demand that we go to its most dangerous environs. I'm deeply curious what's changed.
Let's find this bell, bring it back, and see what they have to tell us.
Were you going to add something, brother? No? Then let's proceed.
You continue the path and finally reach the beach. It is pure desolation. Not a single soul in sight. Even the birds are too quiet. And in the distance, in the waters, for just an instant, everyone notices a red silhouette far away into the water for an instant, almost looking like a tentacle, disappears under the waters.
I say we stay away from that, whatever that was. That's too close to its territory, whatever it is.
Yes, that's deeply troubling. Even the waters surrounding our island seem full of threats.
Cursed, one might say.
Yes. Bit of an
But-
unsettling paradigm shift to learn that the place you've always considered your idyllic childhood home is viewed as a cursed land by those on the mainland. What does that make us? Cursed children?
That makes us people who are looking for a cliff with a cave.
Fair enough.
Let's try to
I
avoid
look-
the waters. Let's try to avoid the waters.
I look around to see if I can see any mountain ranges or like anything that might suggest the presence of the cliff in the map that Reisha carries.
I give the
Munin
map to
can
my
see
brother.
no cliff, no mountain. He's certain that this area is bereft or has no such formations.
I think we have to find a strong boat. Looks like we will navigate.
If the bell is on the island, I don't think we need to go at sea. I try to commune with some of the birds who are in the forest. I try to sense if there's a presence of possibly a crow or a raven. And with the use of my spell, I try to see through the raven's eye, let it fly, and see if from a bird's eye view I can spot a lake.
Munin is unable to accomplish such a thing.
I look for either a tree or a taller cliff to simply climb it and get a better vantage point in the region to see our surroundings.
The beach offers no vantage point.
It's simply flatland, brothers. We'll have to proceed on blindly.
I recommend that we keep our distance from the water, but circumnavigate the island rather than going back inland. Go around the perimeter and see if from that vantage point we spot cliffs or anything that might suggest the presence of a lake. Let's
I have no
walk.
disagreement.
This seems like a rather good plan to me. I walk by the mule a little bit closer, considering the thing in the water, whatever it was.
And definitely, as we walk by the coast, let's make sure that we are vigilant in case anything comes out of the water, or perhaps if any vessel appears in the horizon.
The adventurers stand close to the beach and can now start walking either northwards or eastwards.
I look at the map to confirm that we've came from the north and suggest we move east.
Once again, Reisha notices that the map has no other indication apart from the sketch
Picture.
of the cliff, the cavern, and the lake.
My siblings, don't we have to head southwest?
We've reached the southwesternmost point of the island.
Ah,
So it's either from here going north or from here going east.
okay.
One is equal the other for what we know. I say north just out of a hunch, but if anybody else has reasons to believe east is a better choice, I'm happy to follow.
North?
I would have said east based on a hunch, but I trust your hunches over mine. North is fine with me.
Yes, mine
Let us
too.
go north then.
I'm a bit
I agree.
confused. My brother Muning, are we looking for a cliff or a lake?
We're looking for a cliff surrounding a lake with a cave within it. So there's a lake, there's a cliff, and a cave within that cliff. That's where the bell is,
Okay.
or at least so we think and hope.
Yes, this map is not so much a map of Halmar as it is of a specific geographical feature somewhere on the island.
Let us move north and see if we see cliffs or an estuary that might lead us to a lake.
You
Couldn't
know,
find
you
us
know,
any.
yeah, Moonin, you know birds. Are there lake birds you might recognize as we approach? As a sign
Uh,
where
the island is small, so any bird that lives in the island would be anywhere and everywhere at once. There wouldn't be particular fauna specific just to the lake, I assume. But if I do see fish or birds, I will certainly let you know.
Much appreciated.
Peter, and Peter will put his hand in the sea, in the water. He's curious if he feels something strange about that, maybe about the temperature or maybe a vibe he might get out of the water.
Peter is about to do that, but he's thinking about the future. After a moment's hesitation, he puts his hand in the water, but the water is normal, completely normal and fine.
Okay. Nothing unusual. Okay. I share this with my siblings.
Good to know. I take Cuthbert's reins and lead the mule as I head north with the others.
And so you all proceed north. And this is the end for this session. So, what do you guys think about the adventure?
I liked it. It's really good. Y'all are excellent role players too. Good night. This is the most fun I've had in a while.
Oh yeah, so far so good. No, that was neat.
Yeah.
Killed a multi-headed monstrosity thing. You know?
Oh, that was awesome. I loved it. That was great.
5 heads.
That was scary.
And I found
It's
it
always
funny
nice.
because
Oh,
because of the hesitation from Odo. He missed a couple of strikes, but then he said to Resha, "Don't worry, Resha, you'll do it one of these days."
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we have a very supportive family.
Yeah, we have a good
But it was great. It was
pretty
great,
good
and
group dynamic.
yes. And what did you what do you think about the role play that you did? Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I'm role playing Barine as somebody who's not too keen on survival just yet, where he is still a young kind of elf.
Mhm.
But as he gets more familiar with the survival aspect of his training, he'll eventually get better at it. Right now,
You're
he's
kind
just
of trying
focused
to
on his
play him
combat.
as okay. Oh, I thought you meant literal survival. I didn't know if you were kind of playing him as someone who's still got that kind of youthful idea of like I'm immortal, nothing can kill me, you know, that kind of thing. So I didn't know if you meant literal survival. So.
Got
Oh,
close
no.
there. Got close there. But
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like he is still a young elf. He is still figuring things out.
No, that's
And I
fair.
was applying bonuses because of your descriptions, but I was also fair with the when they said that you cannot use "I will." So every time you did "I will," like there was this delay. So, but every time you were in the present, in the now, because just like I said to the author of this setting, Asteria, I told him, "Here you give an example when you mention I will kick, but it's an in combat. You will not kick. In combat, you kick. If you think I am going to swing my sword, that's too late in combat."
Yeah, I
And
noticed.
he actually agreed, and he changed the. He said, "Oh, you're right."
I noticed when I said
Yeah.
I tried, there was a bit. There's like, yeah, you're thinking in the future is like, okay, I can adjust that. I can role play with that.
Yeah,
with it.
adjusting to the
It's-
house
it's-
rule on like present statements, it does take some adjustment, certainly. So
and especially for those of us who speak English as a second language, because there's a bit of
yeah, there's a bit of
translation happening, but
yeah. But
Forget
I
about the wheel. Eliminate the wheel. There is no wheel. There is I do this. I do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I Yeah.
And if
It's
there's
a-
anything I can do with my role play to make it easier for you guys to understand, just let me know. I'm happy to do it for you guys.
Ah,
No,
it's
you did
okay.
pretty good. Yeah, and also there was only that moment where I kinda kneel because just say it. I kneel or I hesitate or whatever. You don't kinda, you just do it. But thanks, you were all great, and thank you. And for those of you watching at home, we are playing this every 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, the next Monday, we are continuing the adventure. So once again, thank you, Derek, Josh, Sam, Giovanni, David, of course, David, the designer of the game. Thank you.
The game is belongs to the players, of course. So
Well, thank you.
thank you for the invitation and for playing along with me.
So it'll be March 10th. See everybody on March 10th. So
March.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was super, and the setting is very charming and mysterious, and has a lethal vibe to it that keeps us, I guess, very
On our toes.
attentive. Yes.
You are actually
Yeah.
there. You are experiencing the game world, exactly.
It was very
I-
immersive. Yes.
And I particularly enjoyed the rhythm of the game because Abraham, you were giving it a nice rhythm in the fight. It was not too long. Walking in the island, I think it felt we were there. Yeah, thanks.
the pacing.
Very
The
nice.
pacing.
The pacing.
The pacing
yes,
is
exactly.
the pacing is the best. That's my favorite part of it.
I think it was the combination of the system by David, the quick and classic. That's why it's quick. It's super quick when it comes to resolution. But for
Yes.
those of you watching at home, if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons Pathfinder, the rules are there to support you. They are not there to hinder you. If the players, like you saw, take an action that makes sense with the context, you give them those automatic successes, those wounds, those give priority to the roleplay. The rules are there to support you, not to, oh, I have to play like for 20 rounds until the creature is dead. No, the rules are there to support you. So once again, thank you to everyone. And for those of you watching at home, thank you for watching. If you wish to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Like, subscribe, take a look at the information in the description, in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you. And I am stopping the recording in 10 seconds.